Hi, welcome on my channel. Today I would like to talk about the project that actually landed me a job in software development. So we're gonna go through some fundamental mistakes of making a project, and then obviously I will talk about right choices in terms of making a project, in terms of choosing the right technologies, the right idea, every important step that you should do in order to make your project valuable and potentially get a job in software development thanks to the complexity and thanks to value that your project will bring. So I'm gonna talk about all these theoretical aspects of making a project, and then I'm gonna show you some technical. We're gonna go through code. We're gonna go through my project that actually got me a job, because you are probably interested in practical example, like how this project can look. So don't worry, we're gonna go through my project. I'm gonna show you all of important aspects there. So let's move on to the video. So let's start with the most fundamental mistakes that beginners do. Firstly, I would like to talk about the problem in which I was one of the people that make that mistake. It's mistake of making multiple very small projects. So I have portfolio of, let's say, 4 or 5 projects, because I had that feeling. I had that feeling that if I will have more projects in my portfolio, I will be more valuable in terms of potentially getting a job. I thought that potential interviewer, like HR department, will see me as a valuable candidate and will invite me for the interview. Actually, if you do this amount of little projects that are just to put in your CV, so you are counting on the amount, not the quality of your project. It's 100% scenarios, it's bad idea, because your project don't bring any value. At the first stage, often only HR, like non-technical people, look at your CV. But if somebody from technical, some technical guy look at your CV, he will see that you are one of the hundreds of people that want to get a job and don't bring any value. So like he or she will not even invite you for the interview. So you should go into one very good project and complex project than going into multiple small projects. Focus on one project. Most people does not do anything because they can watch, like most of people can watch some video on YouTube and hear that projects are worth to do. But most of people do projects just to put there in the CV and they apply for the jobs. And I was one of these people, so I know exactly how it is, and I know that most of people who want to get a job think that way, that they gonna do multiple projects and it's gonna get their a job, and it's not true. So as I said, go into one project, have one project in your CV, but focus on it. Second step is spending, in my opinion, at least from 1 to 3 months on your projects. I think that it's even better to do 3 months of the project, and obviously depending of how consistent you are. If you, for example, work on it daily, or if you work, I don't know, few hours per week, because if you work few hours per week, it will be probably more than 3 months. Why is it important? Because the truth is, it's hard to do, for example, project in 2 weeks. Do good project in 2 weeks. Especially if you are at the beginning of your programming journey. Believe me or not, but you should spend from 1 month to 3 months on it. And prepare for that time period. If you want to do something that will be the star among the other people, the other projects, the other CVs, you have to spend some time on it and put some effort into it, because otherwise you're not gonna distinguish from others. We discussed the most popular mistakes. Then I would like to talk about important aspects in terms of making a project. So firstly comes idea. And as I said, in my opinion, it would be nice to do something innovative. It does not have to be like, thinking about the idea on the project for 1 month. No, no, no. You can even go to ChatGPT or, to some AI chatbot and ask it for innovative project ideas. And here you are. You have some innovative idea. You don't have to spend very big amount of time, thinking about project idea. Go something catchy, because you should not do to-do list, because you can do to-do list or I don't know, some movie library, like simple movie library or just library with very good programming practices, with using advanced technologies. But the truth is you also have to catch an eye of recruiter, HR, non-technical person. So idea, as I said, quite innovative. Don't spend too much time on it, but it has to be at least a little bit catchy, some innovative project that will be interesting, that will be just interesting from the name of it, from the topic. So for example, some smart AI trainer that makes statistics from your sleep statistics and diet and workout and activity, like daily activity. So it has to be something catchy. Then I would focus on the technologies that you will use, and simply the technologies that you want to use in that project are simply the technologies you want to work in. So if you want to be Java developer, like me, like I started, you should do project in which you use Java, Spring Boot, Hibernate, some database. I recommend PostgreSQL or Oracle. These are, in my opinion, the best databases, or some NoSQL database, for example, MongoDB, some caching tool like Redis. So the technologies you use are highly connected with the position you are applying for. So we went through idea, technologies. So you have to know that it's important to use as much good programming practices as possible. So you should write unit tests and integration tests. And why is it important? Because nobody writes them. Like, most of candidates don't write unit tests, don't write integration tests. And here is your advantage, like these small things are potentially getting you a job. So we started with some innovative idea. Then I'm talking about some good practices. Now we talking about integration and unit tests. And we are going through every step and look that we are doing something additional on every step. And thanks to that, we are distinguishing ourselves from others, from other candidates. So it's important to do such things in terms of making a project that could potentially land you a job. And all of these programming good practices, I mean all clean code practices. So don't repeat yourself dry. Keep it simple, stupid. As I said, solid. So all of these good practices should be in your project. So idea, technology, good practices that distinguish you from others, the time period, the effort, the time that you have to spend on it, and the fifth one is descriptive, like good description of the project. So if you finish the project, you have to have very clear and concise and attractive description of that project in your CV and on your GitHub account in the README file. And the best one is to have some demo. For example, if you want to be backend developer, have some simple frontend. It's always good for recruiters, some simple frontend that shows your application. Nowadays, in my opinion, we are going a little bit into the full stack era. So, because backend developers can make frontend with AI. So you can even do some simple frontend with AI. It's not hard, really. You're gonna distinguish you from other candidates. So use AI, use AI in terms of ideas, or if you want some help. For example, if you are a backend developer and you want to do some front end, use AI. Really, it's a tool to use, and you're gonna be ahead of others that are not using it. I think we covered all theoretical aspects. So now let's go into my code. Because this project is written in Java language, so if you are not Java programmer, don't worry, because I'm gonna talk about some other aspects, like README of the project, unit tests, integration tests, so don't worry, keep watching, because you're gonna for sure find some value from it. So let's start with the GitHub repository that I have, and as you see, it's lottery, so not very innovative project. You can think that I lied to you because I told you to do some innovative idea, just a little bit innovative, and I did lottery, but I will explain. I did lottery because I didn't have that experience, so I chose that topic. It was simple, and I thought that it's not worth to think much about some important and some innovative topic. But currently, if I will do it again, I will do more innovative projects than this. But I used here many advanced technologies and good programming practices and clean code practices. So look, it's GitHub repository, and as you see, I have a README file. So here is quick, maybe not quick, but description of the project. As you see, you can check the application here. So I had the link, now it's not working at this moment, it was 1 year ago, but I had simple frontend to test that application out. So as you see, I had that point that I had the project which you can test in the web. So it was something that other candidates often don't have in their portfolios. So as you see, here is a description of the project, that lottery is online version of the classic number lottery Lotto. Users select 6 unique numbers from 1 to 99 to receive a special ticket ID. Winners are determined weekly by matching at least 3 numbers, etc. It's not important, but it's important for your projects to have such description. Then then here it's in bullet points, some features of that application, like caching mechanism, user registration, JVT token for access, integration with remote HTTP server for winning numbers, scheduled Saturday drawings at 12 p.m. So worker that was consistently working every Saturday, automatically without any manual human intervention. Here is author, so me, my LinkedIn, my website, which is not working already. Specification, so here is technical specification, Spring Boot web application, architecture. I used here architecture of modular monolith hexagonal architecture. And I recommend you to start with modular monolith. You can read some article about it. It's the most, I would say, easy. It's most easy architecture, because I would not start with microservices. You can switch from modular monolith then to microservices, and it will be another point for you, another advantage from that will distinguish you from other candidates. So that's technical specification, as I said, and here is, for example, also that I use Docker, and here some nice image description of tech that I used: Java, Maven, Spring Boot, MongoDB, Redis, Docker, testing, JUnit, Mockito test containers, and frontend, Angular, HTML, CSS. And obviously some instruction to run it if somebody would like to clone that repository to their local computers and run it themselves. There was also possibility, and REST API endpoints that application had, and that's all. As you see, descriptive, nice and clear and attractive README is important. I would say that this README is not as fast as it could be, but it's good. It's good, and most of people don't have such README, candidates. And this is README, and this is very important to have good README, so the recruiter sees it. Often, the truth is that often recruiter does not click on the links in your portfolio. So not even open your GitHub account. So you also, in that scenario, you also should have nice description in the document, in your CV. So have some link to your application, some nice and attractive description, so the recruiter would want to click that link, would like to click that demo of the application. So that's why it's important, because it distinguishes you from others. I wonder how many times I said distinguish in this video. Somebody can count and write in comments below. So we can look at some code. If you know Java language and you are interested, we can look also at some code that's here. So as you see, I split it like the architecture, hexagonal architecture, and domain-driven development here. I split the logic into domain, package. So the all logic related to so all code related to basic logic, like fundamentals, core logic of the application, is here in this package. And the infrastructure, so here we have mechanisms like controllers or Redis for caching, or schedulers that work weekly, things like that. Security, so authentication, registration, and stuff like this. Also here, as you see, unit tests. I have unit tests here. Actually, it's not a test. It's a test. So as you see, I have also unit tests here. There are plenty of them. I have another package, another directory for integration tests. Yeah, my ID is saying that Java file is located out of the source. Okay, yeah, and here some Redis testing, some API validation testing. So actually, I would because if you want, to look at the core logic, you can look at it yourself. It's public GitHub repository, so feel free to look at it if you are interested. But main things that are in my project. So integration tests, unit tests, big amount of logic. So we have draw date generator, login and register, number generator, we have number receiver, we have result announcer, we have result checker, and in infrastructure we have simple controllers. But look, we are using, for example, Redis, and it's important to do such things because it's something that it's nice because you already know some caching mechanisms. We are using API validation, error handler, so we are handling some potential exceptions. We are using scheduler. We are using HTTP client that is, making the requests to the remote servers. So we are doing here, we are using many things that are that you will potentially do in your job. So these are the things that you should then also firstly obviously do in your project and then write in your CV, because these are the things and practices that you will for sure use and that are highly valuable in terms of comparing you from other candidates. Because thanks to that, you can really get a job in IT, even if there are a lot of candidates on one position. You can distinguish yourself that way. Also, I have Docker integration here, so I have every container. My database MongoDB is in Docker container. I have test containers that are running on Docker. So containers are being run every time that integration tests are running. So my databases are, cleared and then again filled with some data that I put in integration test. So this is very nice and isolate my main database from testing environment. So I use Docker here, and I also wrote it in my CV. I highlighted it because Docker is also a tool that there are big chances that you will use it in your job. Obviously, depending from the position, but for example, me, Java developers, there are many positions on Java developers with Docker and Kubernetes. So keep in mind that it's worth. So if you are learning some other technology than Java, you can look at the offers. You can look at the offers. You can look at the requirements and just use the technologies. Use all kinds of technologies, and don't use them like that. Just to do something. Like try to integrate them nicely into your application. Like put some effort into it. There is something that I didn't do in that project, and this is CI/CD pipeline. I highly recommend that because you will use it in your job 100%. I didn't do that. I did it later in my project after getting a job, but doing CI/CD is very nice thing to have, and then obviously write it in your CV that you have CI/CD integrated in your project. So I think it would be all for this video. If you have some questions, if I, for example, talked about something for a not enough amount of time, leave a comment below. I will answer for sure, or I will record a next video answering to these questions. Feel free to ask, feel free to comment below. And if you liked this video, hit the like button. If you don't want to miss any new videos, hit the subscribe button, and see you in next one.